In July 2007, the official state news agency of the Iranian government published an announcement. It was formal. It was serious. It was issued with the full bureaucratic authority of a sovereign nation's intelligence apparatus. 14 squirrels had been arrested on Iran's border. They were carrying spy equipment belonging to foreign agencies. They had been intercepted before they could complete their mission, thanks to Iran's intelligence services. The national police commander confirmed the report when journalists asked. And while Iran was arresting squirrels, the real spies were already inside. Because Iran had every reason to be paranoid. Not because it is an unstable regime, but because the shadows were real. The CIA, Mossad, and Western agencies launched systematic operations. They recruited scientists, bribed officials, and introduced sabotaged equipment into the supply chains. They also killed people, nuclear physicists specifically, men who had spent their careers advancing Iran's atomic program. Assassinations carried out by agents on motorcycles who attached magnetic bombs to the scientists' cars while they were stopped at traffic lights. The threat was real. The paranoia was justified. But the problem was what happens to a security apparatus when it runs on paranoia. When every unusual thing at the border becomes a potential weapon. When the machinery of surveillance starts consuming itself. When it reaches the point where a police commander can face a camera and confirm with a straight face that 14 squirrels have been arrested for espionage. Let's go back to July 2007. The IRNA is the official state press outlet. When it publishes a story, it carries institutional weight. Intelligence operatives arrested 14 squirrels. They were stopped before they could act, thanks to the alertness of our intelligence services. Commander Esmail Ahmad Makadam was contacted for confirmation. He confirmed. "I heard of this," he said, "but I have no specific knowledge on the subject." He declined to give any further details. Turkish media reported finding GPS units, miniature cameras, and listening devices. Western intelligence responded with silence. In the 1960s, the CIA ran a program called Acoustic Kitty. A domestic cat was surgically implanted with a microphone and transmitter. The intent was to use the cat to eavesdrop on conversations in the Soviet Union. The first field test reportedly ended when the cat was struck by a taxi. The program was eventually abandoned. So when Iranian intelligence claimed to have found foreign spy equipment on squirrels in 2007, the question of whether Western agencies would do something like this was technically not absurd. The question of whether they had done it with these specific squirrels at this specific moment was a different matter. Former CIA officer Robert Baer called the idea of squirrel espionage complete idiocy. But he added that an ex-officer would say exactly that. A fast food vendor in Tehran said foreign countries are always meddling. "I bet they were British squirrels," he said. "The British are most cunning." The squirrels were detained. What happened to them afterward was never officially disclosed. No charges were filed in any legal system that the outside world could observe. No trial was announced. No sentence was published. The 14 squirrels disappeared into the custody of a government that had arrested them for espionage. And that was the last the world heard of them. No trial was announced. No sentence was published. The 14 squirrels disappeared into the custody of a government that had arrested them for espionage. And that was the last the world heard of them. But the squirrels were only the beginning. 1 year later, Iranian security forces announced the detention of 2 pigeons near the Natanz uranium enrichment facility. Natanz is the centerpiece of Iran's nuclear program. Main enrichment halls are buried under 8 meters of reinforced concrete. One pigeon carried a wired rod with invisible threads. A black pigeon was captured with a blue-coated metal ring. It is surrounded by anti-aircraft batteries, surface-to-air missile systems, radar installations, and multiple rings of armed security personnel. It is one of the most heavily protected facilities in the Islamic Republic, and 2 pigeons had been apprehended in its vicinity. The Eatmad Meli newspaper described the evidence in careful detail. Commander Ahmad Mokaddam was contacted for his response. He confirmed the detentions. The pigeons were placed in custody. What happened to them was not announced. In 2018, General Hassan Fayouzabadi revealed that foreign services were smuggling lizards and chameleons into Iran. The skin of these lizards, he stated, was capable of attracting atomic waves, serving as living radiation detectors. What he didn't say was that the most sophisticated intelligence operation in cyber warfare had already run inside Iran for a decade. The lizards had not succeeded. The squirrels had not existed as threats. The pigeons with invisible strings had been pigeons. And while the security apparatus was processing all of that, something real had been destroying Iran from the inside. The facility is air-gapped. To infect it, you cannot send an email. Someone has to physically carry the attack through the door. A Dutch mole, an Iranian engineer recruited by IVD, CIA, and Mossad, carried a USB drive into Natanz. The code was called Stuxnet. It spread silently, looking for Siemens controllers connected to uranium centrifuges. It reprogrammed the centrifuges to spin in irregular patterns. Too fast, then too slow, causing mechanical stress and failure. Stuxnet fed monitoring systems false data. The screens showed normal readings. The men watching the instruments had no idea. By 2009, inspectors noted twice the normal number of failures. Approximately 1,000 centrifuges were destroyed. The intelligence collection continued quietly. Iran replaced the centrifuges. It restructured its security protocols. It published new directives about USB drives. It tried to close the gaps Stuxnet had exposed. It invested in domestic cybersecurity. It publicly blamed the United States and Israel, which was accurate. It continued funding proxy forces, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, various militia networks across Iraq and Syria. Because Stuxnet had taught something important, the most effective intelligence operation is not the one that makes the loudest noise. It is the one that runs for years inside the target without being detected. That knows which door a general will walk through on a Tuesday morning in June. The most effective operation is not the loudest, but the one that runs for years undetected. On June 13, 2025, Israel launched the 12-day war. 4 of Iran's most senior military commanders were killed on the first day. Hossein Salami, commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps; Mohammad Bagheri, Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces; Brigadier General Gholam Ali Rashid; Amir Ali Hajizadeh, commander of the IRGC Aerospace Force. None of them lived to see the second day of the war. Also on that first day, Iran's top nuclear scientists were lured into meetings and killed simultaneously. Among them, Feridun Abbasi Davani, who had stated publicly that he had everything needed to build a nuclear bomb. The intelligence was gathered over decades by sources inside Iran, learning the daily lives of protected individuals. No squirrels, no pigeons. Just human beings building trust slowly and waiting for the moment to act. A government that arrests animals has lost the ability to distinguish a real threat from a useful story about a threat. Every arrested squirrel sends a message. The enemy is everywhere. When a population accepts that, a government can justify almost any action. The real threats looked like colleagues and neighbors. They ate in the same cafeterias and drove past the same guards every morning. Iran's security apparatus chose to see what was convenient. It paid for that choice on the morning of June 13, 2025. If a government capable of building missiles believes squirrels carry trackers, what does that tell you about power? Leave your answer below. And if you haven't seen our previous episode about the city where dancing in public can cost you 10 years in prison, the video is right here. I'll see you there.